All right, thanks folks for joining us again on a Family Through Service, V2VG video podcast. And
you're getting too comfortable. Like you get it right. We got to switch it up.
We got to switch it up. So I'm back from my vacation to Virginia, a family vacation to Virginia, and it was awesome because Matthew was able to join us. He was able to take some leave from the Air Force.
Not only Matthew, but good friends of yours and one of our founders, Patrick and his family.
Big P and Melissa.
All the way out from Ohio, right?
Yep, they moved to Ohio. Yeah, it was really nice. People asked us. They said, "Why did you go to Virginia?" I said, "Because that's the destination place." But the reality is, we have a timeshare thing that we went to Virginia. The resort in Virginia is the Colonies at Williamsburg. Really awesome place. A lot of security there, which I loved. Jen wasn't a fan of because she's like, I have to keep fucking. Oh, Nancy can. Where's the Nancy can?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's another one. So I have to keep using the key card to get into the door.
To get in and out of that.
So there was security access to the building, and then to our hallway, and then to our room, which I loved.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, and I do want it to be known that he had his whole family there and did not invite me. So,
I was like,
with
Chuck,
that being said,
you got to stay back and secure the fort here.
Yeah.
We needed someone to take care of the dogs, though. We couldn't take it. So,
yeah.
Chuck, you were on deck.
Cats and dogs, and
you were on deck to take care of the animals. But it was an awesome trip. And the cool thing was, this time we didn't fly because Jen is afraid of heights. So Jen thought it would be, and she didn't want to drive. Okay, so Jen thought it would be a great idea to take the train down to Virginia.
Which is funny because...
But Jen has really bad motion sickness. And she gets sick on like whale watches. She gets really sick in the airplane. And she gets sick on the train. Yeah. And the way down to Virginia, we were sitting backwards on Amtrak.
She said that.
Yeah, so that was really... Effect. So I'm going to put up a couple pictures, if I can, of Jen, like... holding her stomach, trying to sleep because she was not doing well on the way down. On the way back up, we were sitting in the correct orientation.
Yeah, you're facing forward of the train, not aft.
And she did take some lorazepam or whatever to help, and that and facing in the right orientation, she was much better. But she didn't like the train. I liked the train. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
have you ever taken Amtrak?
Yes, I've taken a couple times, and what was funny is that because of your TBI, you have sensory issues, specifically that strobe light,
the strobing effect.
And so Jen was all excited about going on the train. I'm like, listen, Eric needs to make sure he has his sunglasses. And she brings him into the office.
She brought him into the office. She's like, here's his glasses. Yeah. Chuck's like, no, for the train.
But...
Hey, matter of fact, the strobing effect wasn't too bad on the track where we took because it was mostly... down the eastern seaboard, it was mostly through cities and swamps. When we got down to the Virginia area,
yeah.
So it wasn't too bad.
That's good.
It was good, but the kids had a good time. The little ones really were pissing me off because, especially Zachariah, the youngest, because he was always using it as an excuse to stand up. Because see, in the train, unlike an aircraft, you can walk around.
Yeah, they get like a
much more freely.
Cart and all this. Yeah,
so he was using the ability to stand much more. Freely, I'm like, Zach, you got to sit down because it does rock and buck and things. So it was Zachariah was using it as an excuse to stand up, and I was like, dude, you got to sit down. So I'll put some pictures and some video snapshots up in this video. It's going to be a little bit more post production editing, but it'll be fun. Not too many, but it'll be just a couple to show. But we went down to Virginia, and we went to Busch Gardens.
Yep.
We went to Ripley's, believe it or not, a little museum.
Yep.
We went to one of the aquariums down there. It was okay.
The kids really seem like involved in that.
They did. They had a great time, and we went to we went somewhere. Oh, we went to Virginia Beach, and ate there. But see, I'm on my. I had my food funeral. My food funeral, not my feud funeral. Food funeral, because I'm having bariatric surgery in like a week.
Yes, actually.
What is it?
A week exactly. A week
exactly.
Today.
I don't know why I know. How many
why
days?
Why would you not know?
Because I'm on a very strict pre-op diet, so I'm like counting the days, the minutes, the seconds, right. But so I had to really be careful. But it was a really great vacation. So, but the point is, the reason why I'm bringing this up is Chuck and I decided we should talk about the need for R&R. Right.
Yes.
So what is R&R anyway?
It's rest and relaxation. Well, it's supposed to be, right?
If
you have kids, it doesn't happen anyway. but there is two sides for most combat veterans to R&R. So the first, we do want to talk about the positive and how important it is to get away from, whether it's work, whether it's running the nonprofit, or whatever the case is taking that little bit of time. You guys were only gone like 5 days, 6 days.
It, 6 days, yeah.
Taking
travel
that time,
and a couple days there.
Yeah, and spending time.
So realistically, it was a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And
but focusing on you and yours, basically, and it's important that we do that, because especially in the business that we're in with the nonprofit, we focus so much on other people and other people's families and their problems.
That's the big thing. We
kind of forget about our own stuff.
It's true. We deal with, not only do we deal with other people, we deal with other people at their lowest, or at a low in their life.
Absolutely.
Maybe not their lowest, but at a low in their life. And as much as we try to protect ourselves, it can get draining. It catches up to you.
And obviously, like with anything working with people, there are some cases where you're like, oh, I'm so glad that was over. That person was kind of a pain in the ass. And then there are other times, like, as soon as you meet them and have first conversation, there's an immediate connection. Like,
absolutely,
you can feel that this individual is trying to help themselves.
Yes.
But it's important for us to help ourselves.
Yeah, you went on an R&R, more like a staycation.
Yeah, we try,
Conway, right?
Probably every 6 months we try and go. In North Conway, everybody seems to, there's something for everybody in our family there. So,
and I'm going to link the staycation R&R video that we posted also in the description. Hopefully I remember to do that. So I'm going to link but I'm going to put up some pictures or link the staycation video in there that Chuck and his family went on. But it was nice to get away. But you did mention something interesting, and you said there are, unlike the average person, probably there are two sides to R&R for a lot of veterans and very likely first responders.
And I would imagine, and a spoiler alert, we do have an individual who is interested in being at least a volunteer in an organization who's a retired first responder.
Once he gets up here and set.
So we will be able to dive into that a little deeper. But for us, it's almost like our wives know, because when they plan these trips, they know when that cutoff time is, like, okay, the relaxation stopped. Like, we have to get back to our routine. We have to get back to what we created to be normal.
Right. So just like you're saying, get back to our routine. We've done videos and podcasts where we talk about routine and routine violations. Now, when we go on R&R, veterans, Chuck and I, we purposely take ourselves out of our routine to start a temporary new routine, or a temporary new, and put ourselves in a new environment. And that's okay for a short period of time.
Yes.
And it does give you, or at least it gives me, a significant amount of anxiety, which you try to compartmentalize and put away. However, I've noticed that the longer I'm away, whether I'm having a good time or not, the more I sort of really, the ache to get back to my standard routine gets stronger.
Yeah, and
larger.
I think it's a little twofold too, because we really do every aspect of this organization. Our hats are so interchangeable, but we do everything as a pair. I know when I go, I always feel bad that I'm leaving you to deal with like an extra size load of things to do because we're not there to work things out. Yeah. And I feel I can assume that you feel that same way.
Absolutely.
But that's still better than some who do it on their own and they know all this stuff is just piling up. And then they have to come home and do it.
They get back to their inbox and go, what the hell?
Yeah, so I think we're kind of somewhere in the middle because we do have each other, but it's really important for our wives too because it's an opportunity for us to kind of be a little more 50-50 with our wives over the kids and stuff. Let them let their hair down because our wives do so much for us. I mean, we had an entire video of caregivers and spouses. Yeah,
it's true.
But it's sometimes we got to put ourselves in a little uncomfortable position to help them out, and that's not. I'm not talking about having sex in a Volkswagen Beetle, although that would be uncomfortable.
At my weight, yeah.
So, but it's good to see the kids blossom and these new and get away from their routines because they know Littleton inside and out. I mean,
at this point,
you know, they know
half of my kids were
where
born
to
here.
Stay away from and all that. And again, you have adult kids like me who don't live at home anymore, and to be able to get them all together, even for a weekend, for 5 days.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because there was a couple times when we were there in the room, which is more like an apartment. In the parlor area of the room, and my kids were all there and laughing and having a good time, including my adult son who's in the Air Force now. You know, my oldest adult son. I have 2 adult children, and one who really wants to be an adult so bad that she's. Anyway, I digress. But I was looking over at them for a second, and it made me nostalgic and. Intellectually misty-eyed.
It's like almost movie-like, right? It's that
in
snapshot
many ways,
of,
and I have it stuck in my mind.
Yes,
it's a mental snapshot,
and it's good because I mean, so many movies they drag out the romance and this whole.
It's like
but when you really focus on family, and you see, even if you see the family being sad because they have to leave. That in itself, it brings that like, okay, we did something good. Like
it's funny you mentioned the movies with the romance and they drag it out. It's like, you know what? Fuck all that. Like that's not what it's about. It's the real thing. The thing that really pulls at your heartstrings is when your family is together again after having been apart for a while. It doesn't matter if it's for 5 minutes or not, or even if they're just under the same roof and you know that they're safe, even if it's just for an hour. You can go to sleep or you can rest, even if it's just for an hour, knowing, okay, they're all here. I'm going to rest for a second, and then you move on to bigger and better things or greener pastures or whatever. And that's the key. And I think movies sort of miss the mark when they harp on the romance aspect for an hour of the fucking movie. I watch these rom-coms and with Jen, or I used to, and I only was in it for the comedy section because then when it started getting serious, I'm like, I know how it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And
I was in it for the comedy.
what is really good too about taking these trips is not only do we get out of our routine, but when you have teenagers, especially not like you said, knocking on the door to adulthood. They can be nothing short of complete assholes. And but when you take these trips, a lot of times they break out of that as well. And even if it's for a few days, and then if you have little ones, you want to protect them because it's all new, but they want to explore. So you see your little ones become more independent as well. So it's a lot of
it's a very dynamic experience for sure. You really, it's a lot of different emotions. It's very dynamic, and you sort of see your children in a new light because you're in a new environment.
And especially when you have a large amount of kids and you have different ages to deal with, and you know their routine inside and out.
Yeah.
Even with your teenage daughter, you know when to work, you know when she goes to school, you know all these things. So for that to like not be a worry and just let things kind of go,
and it is nice. And then for as far as for Jen and I, we got back into an old, almost ancient routine where we played spades with with P and Melissa. We only played 4 or 5 games. The ladies won every single game.
Of course they did.
Of course they did.
Cheaters.
Cheaters. But it wasn't about the winning or losing as much as it was about just ending the day playing spades like we've done just about every night that we've lived next to each other, from when they lived here and when we lived in Fort Campbell, literally next door. When we lived on base, on post together, and we lived in one, 4139 C. They lived in
of course you remember that.
D. Yeah, they lived, this door, and then there was a partition. They lived in this door. We'd go, and they'd come over. We'd play
so
spades.
It's like an office space. You can knock on the wall and be like, "Hey, dude, are you there?"
Yeah. So, that was our routine for a long time, and getting back into an ancient routine was sort of, it was nostalgic, but in a nice way.
And it's really cool because one of the first things I learned about you and Big P's friendship was the fact that you guys did that. And it's one of those things that I just have my own mental note to never try and push that on us, because I think we have our own friendship that is based on other things. So getting to hear and see pictures of you guys getting back at that, it's almost like time did not pass. You guys were like right there.
It's funny because I looked at Melissa and P, and I was like, they haven't changed. Their attitude's the same. They look the same. They're just they speak the same. It's just, and I was like, that's nice. We're not at the point yet in our age that I look at them and go, man, they got old, or man, they got this. It's just like, okay, it's the same. And I kind of think that we could be in our 60s and 70s and be like, yeah, it doesn't matter because we're still doing the same thing. Melissa got Jen this picture, this frame. Jen has it hanging up in the house today. Matter of fact, she has it hanging up in the bathroom when you first walk in. It's on the side. And it says, what does it say? It says, we'll be friends until we're old and senile, and then we'll be new friends.
Yes, you're right.
So it's just funny that when you have a close friendship with somebody that you haven't seen them for a while, when you do see them, you pick it up again like no time has gone by, and it's just nice.
One thing that I really think that's special about this trip you guys took was your two families have been good friends and lived close by through both of their kids being born and 4 out of the 6 of yours.
Yeah, and through deployments.
And so getting back together after, I don't know, almost a year.
A couple of years,
and you get to see their preteen, who's now a teenager. You get to see their little one, who's not so little.
Nope, she's grown up.
The same thing with them seeing your kids, and it's... if that doesn't make you feel a little bit old, I don't know.
Yeah, but although their kids have grown up, the attitudes of the kids are the same, and that's kind of cool. Yeah. So it was just nice all around to get away, but it was also likewise nice to get back to the routine. As a matter of fact, I had texted you.
Yes.
And I said, the vacation it's so windy out.
It is.
I said, the vacation is wonderful and it's awesome, but we're on the train back home now, and I'm ready to get back to the routine.
Yeah,
and the very next, like, we got in at 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the morning, and I was up and at 'em the next day in the office.
Yeah,
because
it's
I
funny.
just wanted to get right back to the routine.
Because you text me and you're like, "So what time we hitting the office tomorrow?" And I was kind of being an asshole, and I was like, "Oh, how about 08?" And I put a question mark, and you're like, "Okay, I'll meet you there."
And I did.
We were both here. I'm like, gee. But by like 9:30, you were like, "Man, I'm so tired." So,
but I did the best I could, right?
Oh,
because you gotta start somewhere.
It was. And it was great to have you back because there was, some stuff here and there going on, and like I said,
because you know what, the charity's business doesn't stop just because we go on vacation.
Exactly.
And just like during COVID, it didn't stop.
Yep.
When we go on R&R vacation, it doesn't stop. People's needs don't stop because we choose to go do something.
Or if our families are having their own emergencies, Sarah.
Well, I'm going to have surgery. That doesn't mean it's going to stop.
Yeah,
Sarah's having surgery. It doesn't stop. So we need to make sure that, to the best of our ability, we don't stop.
Exactly. But not only that, but we provide ourselves, and this is again, as Peppermint Patty would say, full circle back to why R&R is so important, is that this stuff doesn't stop. So making sure we, our loving wives make us take these trips and stuff, because they're always thinking about us. We forget about ourselves a lot of times, but they do a great job. And but we're always looking for an alternative. Who can we have as a backup? What's the backup plan? What's the backup plan to the backup plan?
That's important. You got to have redundancy is key. But unlike Peppermint Patty, who she'll circle back but doesn't, when we circle back, we do.
Yeah, and and we always keep marching forward, right? And
that's what it's about. It's forward progression, folks. Forward progression, no matter what.
And I hope that everybody had a great spring Thanksgiving, also known as Easter, because I know if anybody like me overate again, like in Thanksgiving. So, and those who are religious, I hope everybody had a very good in remembrance Easter as well. And I know you guys
Passover. Amy, if you watch this, I am sorry I forgot to say Happy Passover, because Passover coincided with Easter this year, basically the Easter season. So, Happy Easter and Happy Passover, which I think is Eastertide is still on right now, and the Passover season is still on right now.
See how confusing this is? This is why we don't do politics or religion in our own. It's just too confusing.
What's happening? We don't know. So I hope everybody had a good. If you celebrate it, I hope you had a good holiday, and if you didn't, then okay. Hope you had a good day.
A lot of food.
So thanks for everything, folks. And it is nice to be back and back to the grind, because the grind don't stop.
Nope.
And it really doesn't.